What's going on, prospectors? Dig Daddy out here in the shed bringing you a special episode of Backyard Prospecting. Today we're going to change gears a little bit and we're going to do a little gear review. I know I've been teasing this for a while, but I figured let's check it out. I ordered up something and I got a new pan and I figured, you know what, let's check it out. We'll do a video and I'll give you guys my thoughts on this pan and you can, take that and go order one or not. And then we'll do some reviews on a few other pans that I got stacked up here. Now, if you watch my yellow pans review, you know I got all sorts of pans. I usually only use the one pan for most everything I do, but I figured it'd be a good idea to go through my pans, highlight what's good about them, what's bad about them, and then, eventually we'll get to that pan and I'll tell you why I like that one over everything else. But in all that, today's episode, we're going to be checking out the Gold Claw. This little funky thingamabobber here. Looks like a little ink tray or water, whatever. This is a pan. Little itty bitty pocket sluice. It's the Gold Claw, made in the US of A. And so, the Gold Claw pans a little differently. I've never used one myself, so we're going to learn here today while we're checking it out. So I'll give you my initial review, and then maybe I'll do another review a little bit down the way after I've used it a little bit and gotten used to it. Some very interesting, unique features of the Gold Claw. Let's pan down a little bit so you guys can kind of see them with me. Now, let's go down further. So the Gold Claw, as you can see, is this little trough-looking thing. And it's got ridges all inside of it. So there's a lot of opportunities for gold to be caught. They have ridgings on 3 of the 4 sides. You got your big riffles over here. Now these ones have an extreme lip right here. And that's I think where your gold's supposed to get caught. Anything bigger than that's just going to flow over the edge easily. But this big lip here is going to keep your gold in the pan. Hopefully, anyways. Once you've gotten to the point where you can't really flood any more of the old heavy stuff over the edge, you bring it back down, you flip it over, and you run it down this fine edge here. And again, these little riffles have a lip to them, so that it catches any of that finer gold that's sitting in here. And then again, once you've gotten to that point where you have just your gold and maybe some black sand still sitting there, you flip over to the side here. You probably can't see them that well facing this way, but you flip over to this side, this last edge here, and you got some really fine riffles to hold on to that gold as you work those black sands out of the material. And if you're really sassy, you could probably flip it over to this side where there are no riffles whatsoever. And you can just hope that you're good enough with your water flow that you don't wash your gold away while you're trying to really, really, really clean out the fines. And so that's your pan for you. Like I say, this is... Of course, let me scoot back up. This is, of course, the mini version of this pan. There's a larger, I think it's 14-inch version, larger for working gravels out at the river. I do all my prospecting here in the shed, so I don't need a big giant pan. Big pans are actually a detriment to my panning because this is how much width of waterway I have to work with. As you can see, width-wise, my big pan doesn't even fit in this thing. It rests perfectly right on top. So any pan that I use in here has to fit a certain size and has to be movable in a certain way so that I can make use of it. This one, we go down this way and it works fine. This one being so small, I could pan this either which way. So I don't really see this as a great pan to bust down a large amount of pay dirt, but this little guy I think might work out really well for that fine gold. Getting that fine stuff, clean up, clean out, and get all that crap out of your dirt so you can put it in your vial. Really interesting design. It does feel like it's made out of a really hard plastic. It doesn't say on here if it's ABS or what it is. I think it's just ABS. But it is a harder plastic, I think, than most of the other pans that I have. And I don't know if it will have as much give or if it'll be more prone to cracking or crushing at some point. But take care of your equipment and it lasts longer. So that's all I can really say about that. We'll see if in a year from now, if it's in pieces or if I even use it or if it sits up there with the turbo pan in the pan graveyard. So we're going to bust out a little bit of dirt, throw it in here, get some water ready, and see what kind of gold we can recover with this on a first time usage. And then I'll let you know what I think about it. Stick around and we'll be right back. All right. Now, so that I can see how well this recovers gold, or how well I recover the gold with it, because a part of the panning ability is not just the pan, it's how well the user utilizes the technology, right? So, I mean, with any panning process, your mileage is going to vary based on how well you use the technology that's in your hand. The traditional pan is fairly simple. We've all used it. We all know that basic process. That basic process is the foundation of all prospecting, mining, panning, rather, that's been done throughout the ages, right? So we know what works. We know pans work. But how well they work. Now, do I have to relearn how to pan to use this? Or can I use that same motion that I'm used to using, the basic concept? We'll see. We'll see how that all works out. But that also does factor in. But that being said, if it's too much of a pain in the ass to use properly and to recover the gold, then what good is the tool, right? If I can get the gold at 100% out of my regular pan, then why switch things up? If that works, it works. But the problem is my pan you can't buy. So what's on the market now and what you can get, all of this is important to you guys so that you get the right equipment. And again, this may work great for me and it may not work great for somebody else. The turbo pan may be somebody's godsend pan where I never really picked up on it. But we'll check them all out and we'll make a decision here. What works well and what doesn't. But we got to know what we're after here. So I got my little jar of some gold. Various sizes down from little itty bitty flakes to small little flakes. I'm not too worried about how well it catches the nuggets. I'm sure it'll catch nuggets just fine. But it's this little stuff that I want to make sure is going to get caught. So put some little mini nuggets, little eBay nugs. And so what we're going to go and try to search back out is going to be 0.215 to 218 is where the scale is moving around. 218 seems to be where it's settled. So let's write that down. 0.218 grams. Because of the variance, and we just saw it go up to 222, we're going to write all of those down. So that's going to kind of be the range of where we should find our gold. It is a little bit of a, it's 100th of a gram. So it's in there somewhere. 218 is probably about where we expect we're going to find. So we're going to take this. I got a little bit of dirt here, old Liberty pay dirt. Added some garnet in. This is basically this month's Dig Daddy special. It's a little bit of garnet in here, a little bit of black sands in here. Nothing too crazy. It's 1 scoop of dirt. And we're going to put 0.218 grams of gold in that dirt. Shut that down. And we're going to dump this. As you can see, we are at the point of no return. The gold is on the dirt. And we're going to see how well this gold claw is going to recover it for us. So let's go get some water and get set up outside, and let's pan us some dirt. All right, we're outside here. That's right, folks. Those are the sounds of the outdoors. You may not hear them often here on the internet, but we got everything for you here on Backyard Prospecting. But today we got the gold pan, or the gold claw pan. Got ourselves a nice purple one, so we can see the gold in there. I just watched a video on how to use this thing, and let's give it a shot. Now again, we got 0.218 grams of gold here in this little cup. Try to keep a small amount so we're not overwhelming it. This is a kind of a cleanup sluice. This isn't the full-size version. I did just get done watching a video on how to use this, so I think I have a fairly clear understanding. I already had an idea of it previously, but I just wanted to make sure. Now, they say you gotta shake it out under the water. Kind of swirl it about a little bit. And then, let's say just start tilting forward. Keeping the material under the water the entire time and going slowly. Topaz hung out behind, didn't want to drop out of the pan. We'll pick them out by hand. Nice shinies. But now we essentially have our concentrate. So let's work it back the other way. See the gold wanting to rock its way right out of the pan. Possible I need more depth of water, but I'm fairly confident with even my biggest pan, this should be enough water for me to pan in a traditional method. Well, I guess we could use the fine edge over here, the cleaning edge. That's a shame. I see a piece of gold that wanted to go out of the pan here. There we go. All right. Now, I know I see a piece of gold right there, and I know exactly when it slid out of the pan. It was during that little final cleanup there, because this isn't the best of surfaces, and I could probably scuff this up a little bit, season the pan some, but because it doesn't catch in the traditional way, I didn't think it was really that important. Maybe going back and scuffing it up will help. But that, again, though, is over the molded ridges, the riffles that are there already. So that should already catch stuff. You shouldn't need this to be seasoned on this edge for it to catch your gold. Seasoning's for this edge, or for this flat edge here. Not so much for a riffled edge. Just my thoughts. But we definitely lost a little bit of the flake, itty bitties. There may be more in here that I'm just not seeing. Maybe if I look a little closer. But I think we recovered the majority of what we put in there. So we're going to clean this up a little bit, separate out the gold, reweigh it, see what we recovered with our first go at the gold claw. All right, welcome back, everybody. Unfortunately, I lost the footage of the actual weigh out, but we did wind up recovering the entire 0.218 grams of gold. So this gold claw definitely catches gold, no doubt about it. Now, that being said, my impressions of it, it is a little bit different. You do need to kind of retrain yourself on how to pan. But once you get into the groove of it, it's fairly intuitive. You shake it and tilt it until you get down to your cons. Unfortunately, you get to a point where that doesn't feel very comfortable. Once you get down to that really fine gold and those black sands, the shake and tilt method, I find, shuffles the gold around way too much over those little riffles, and I just don't really feel comfortable down there. Unfortunately, I did intend to use this as a concentrate cleanup pan, so that being the case, it kind of doesn't fit the role I need. Now, I think this would be really good for getting down to concentrates really quickly. So maybe if you were to go with the larger version, you could put more material in there. They actually make two bigger sizes. There's the 14-inch, which is what you're generally going to take out to the river with you. They also make a giant 18-inch version, which they say can hold like a 5-gallon bucket's worth of dirt in it. Now, trying to do that as a person, that might be a lot of weight. But I think the original pan is probably your best bet if you do want to use something like this out of the river. Use it to get down to concentrates really quickly, and then put those in a container or something, bring them home and process them there in something else that can go through your cons with a little bit more confidence. But once you get used to using it, maybe I'm completely wrong there, and busting through concentrates is not a problem. Time will tell, but what definitely did happen is I found the gold that I put in there, every single flake of it, and I feel confident that for $14, and that's what I paid for this, $14.99 over on Amazon. I'll leave a link down below so you can go check it out yourself if you do want to pick one up, or one of the other versions of it. But for $14, it's a nice novelty. I don't think I would find myself using it very much. Definitely not too much, if ever at all, out at the rivers, unless I was just doing quick spot sampling. Maybe it might come into play there. But for the most part, I got a feeling that it's probably going to sit on the shelf while I continue searching for another pan. And so, hence, the journey for a new pan does continue. And we'll be back checking out more hardware here soon. But for now, if you want to go check out one of these little gold pans, check the link down below. Go pick yourself one up. And there you go. So, this is Dig Daddy signing out from the shed. If I don't see you out at the rivers, I'll catch you in the backyard. Peace.